Welcome to Bhawanipur Bytes. I'm your host Ishan, and today on Bhawanipur Bytes, I'm very excited to present a panel discussion on a very relevant matter. And I'm honored to share the space with two of our panelists. We have Mr. Oniket Bordon, who is a professor in the Bhawanipur College Department of Journalism and Mass Communication. And on my right, I have Ms. Orchisha Ghosh, who is a student of Journalism and Mass Communication at the Bhawanipur College. So thanks a lot for being here and sharing your time with us. Our topic today is the new UGC reforms that are to be undertaken from the year 2023 onwards in the university level. Before we begin the panel discussion, let's take a look at some of the main guidelines about these reforms. So now that we have a brief understanding of these reforms, I'd like to direct the first question to Mr. Bordon. Mr. Bordon, whenever we are talking about a reform, it kind of implies that there is something wrong with the pre-existing structure. So what, in your opinion, are the issues in the pre-existing structure that have sparked these reforms?
Okay, very good afternoon to all of you. So, coming back to the question again, there is not always any problem in policies that we need a change. What happens, any policy during the course of time need changes due to the changing world scenario. So let me put a brief throw a light on the brief history of the policies in India. After 1947, India had their first education policy in 1968. That was according to the recommendation of Kothari Commission. So that was the first policy that India had. After that, in 1986, we had our second policy, National Policy for Education 1986. Now this policy was still existing till 2020. Prior coming to the NEP, National Education for Policy 2020, till then, before formulating it, it was the 1986 policy. This policy stated there will be structure of 10 plus 2 system. Now what is 10 plus 2 system? 10 plus is 10 years of children education plus 2 years of formal education, then going to the higher level of education with the 3 years plus 2 years of master degree program, 1 year of MPhil, and after that 5 years again for PhD. So this took almost 20 years or 22 years lifespan of every student to complete their education. Now, changing world scenario demands skills. Though Kothari Commission 1986 policy question for skill, that was not implemented till then. So skills what? Technical skills, vocational trainings, all were not into the education policy prior to 86, but 86 made it a room for it, but that implementation hardly happened. Now this skills changed over time. After the introduction of the Indian economy to the world section, that opening the Indian market to the world phenomena or world market, the education policy didn't change. But 1992, a certain portion of the policy was changed, bringing it to the mock system and different system. But 2020 has a new rule. NEP 2020 asks for 6% GDP for the education sector. That was the main question. Like now, education in 2020, education is not a need; it's a human resource management policy. Then we are having. That's why the Ministry of Education is shifting towards the Ministry of HRD, Human Resource Development. This education is not at all a holistic life view or experience that education wanted to give. Now, NEP tried to give holistic life, international peace, coexistence with knowledge. All three aims are now included in NEP 2020. To give this a new policy was the need, and NEP came forward.
Those were some very good points. Now I'd like to go to Ms. Orchisha. Orchisha, you are a student of the UG program at Bhawanipur College. Do you think that these reforms are going to be beneficial for you, or do you face any problems in the current system? Please tell us.
See, in my perspective, speaking as a student, like Sir said, that these things, these policies, they're looking towards a more holistic approach. So I am very sure that for me also it'll be beneficial in the long run, when I'll be able to, like maybe delve into things in a more practical manner, and maybe I'll have a more expanded period where I'll be able to see into the intricacies. I'll be able to devote more time to my subject, core subject. Then I think it'll be beneficial for me in that aspect. Also, one more thing I'd like to add is I always wanted to do something at the side. For example, while pursuing my course, I wanted to do an internship or something, but I was always wary, because if I end my education or I just drop out at some time, it's not possible for me to reclaim back or get any kind of recognition. But this policy is helping me in a way, because if I do 2 years and then I get a diploma certificate, after a while, after doing some job, gaining some exposure in the actual world, work field, then I can actually jump back and get my education. So that's beneficial for me, I think so. So that's my view of it.
Okay, so under the new reform, a year has been added to the total duration of the UG courses or the undergraduate courses. This has raised some concerns that perhaps the cost of education for every student who will be taking admission in these courses would increase. So does the UGC have any way of tackling these problems? What do you think, Mr. Borto?
First of all, the question is faulty, because Education 1986 policy stated that after 10 plus 2 education, 1 plus 1 plus 1, 3-year part system for undergraduate course was the only way out. Now, according to the statistics of 2018, the percentage of enrollment in part first, first year student, is 36% to that 38 of whole India. By the time they complete their exam, or by the time they complete their graduation, it came down to 4% or so. The main reason behind it, according to the policy setters or according to the researchers of Indian policies, was the financial problem. To address this for financial notion, NEP came forward. Now, how NEP will help it? Archisha was saying that after first year, I may quit and get a certificate. After 2 years, I can complete my diploma and again start with the education policy, again start with my formal education after doing job. So this is where NEP was focusing on. The main thing was that. Now how the economic settlement, how the economic progress goes well to NEP? First, if a student is coming from a backward class with less economic flexibility, he opted for it due to any reason, medical emergency of any kind, he drops out. At least he holds a certificate after first year. If he drops out after second, at least he holds a diploma. If he drops out after third year, he holds a bachelor degree. Dropping out after 4 year, holds a bachelor degree with research establishment. Now, research, that's the main question of yours, right? Adding a 4th semester to it, how research will help. After UG, there were 2-year master's program. Now the 2 years master's program designing was in this format. The first year will be revision of the first, what they have studied in UG, and the next will be research oriented. That will make you prepare for the research in near future. UGC or the NEP policy made this clear from the first end that yes, we will reduce that 1 year revision period. How? By adding an extra year, means adding an extra year, or deleting an extra year from the master section. So this way a comprehensive policy started. A 4-year research or bachelor degree program with research means you don't have to spend extra 1 year, or you don't have to bear extra cost of 1 year to continue with your formal education.
Those were some great points. We'd now like to go on for a very short break. Please stay tuned to Bhawanipur Bytes, because we will be back for more.
कहाँ जाना है? कहाँ जाना है आपको?
क्यों चिपक गया ना?
The abuse of the human rights has been recognized as one of the root causes of contemporary armed conflicts, and at the same time, the protection of human rights is considered as one of the essential elements of peacemaking and peace building. Okay? It was tracked by a remarkable
अब म्यूजिक सुने सिंक में विद सोनिक साउंड, अवेलेबल ऑन iOS, Android and Windows.